I'm Steve, and this is my wife Rachel. We've been going on bike trips for about 7 years now. Like most people, we have jobs, a house, kids, grandkids. That means big 6 months or a year-long trips aren't really an option. So trips for us are anything from 3 days to our current longest of 23 days. On those trips we've covered over 21,000 miles and crossed 17 countries. Some more than once. It's amazing what you can see in a short space of time, and it doesn't need to cost a fortune. Sometimes we camp, sometimes it's hotels or B&Bs. Sometimes we're on our own, sometimes we're in a group. I don't see the point of organised tours, so we've always planned our own. Do not think it's difficult, because it isn't. We've had our ups and downs on the way, but the unknown is part of the adventure, and often the scariest or worst bits at the time are the best stories later. One thing you can be sure of, every trip is going to be different. I've ridden ducks in France and lions in Spain, but you really can't beat going by bike. This year we'll be going through France into Italy, crossing Slovenia into Croatia, then back through Slovenia to Austria, then Germany on the romantic route and the castle route, making our way to Rotterdam for the ferry home.
Well, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I know that I just want to look some more. And I won't be satisfied till there's nothing left that I haven't tried. For some people it's an easy choice, but for me there's a devil and an angel's voice. Well, I don't know what I am looking for, but I know that I just want to look some more.
Lovely warm night as we rode down to the ferry, and we only saw some rain about 40 miles from Dover. The rain continued in Calais, but mile by mile the weather improved till we arrived at sunny Circuit de Reims on the D26. The now unused track first opened in 1928 between the village of Thilloy and Gueux. Regular F1 races were held there up until 1966. The last race was won by Jack Brabham. Other winners there include Jackie Stewart, Sterling Moss and Juan Manuel Fangio. But it was closed in 1972. It's kept open now by volunteers, and it costs nothing to look around. After a few blasts up and down, I did go back and pick Rachel up, and then it was off to Epinay. I was a little disappointed in Epinay, really preferring nearby Reims where we've been in the past. But we had done 514 miles and were really tired, so probably didn't get the best from the town. It did have its attractions though. I'm not sure what Rachel thought.
I really like it. It's one of my favourite places so far.
Annecy was another surprise, but this time for the better. It was stunning. The lake is supposedly one of the cleanest in the world, fed only by rainwater and mountain streams.
And when Stephen goes and puts his feet in it.
The weather was warm, and in the park cheap drinks were being served while people danced away the sunny Sunday afternoon. Despite how many times we've been to Europe, it still amazes me how much more relaxed parking for bikes is. We were told to ignore the pay car park and just park the bike right outside reception. No problem.
I really like Annecy. My favourite place is now.
We had 290 miles to do today, so we decided to use the toll road. But not all toll roads are created equal, and this one was certainly worth the money. The sun was out and we had amazing views of the Alps.
Sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight. It stopped raining. Everybody's still in play. And don't you know, it's a beautiful new day. Hey, running down the avenue. See how the sun shines brightly in the city. On the streets where once was pretty, Mr. Blue. Tired of living here today. Hey.
The €28 charge for one way through the Mont Blanc tunnel wasn't so amazing, but the alternative was a 10-hour trip, and we didn't really have the time. Maybe next time. The tunnel, which was built in 1965 and at the time was the longest tunnel in the world at 7.2 miles, was now only the 11th longest. But what you really get is a series of tunnels lasting for about another 21 miles. Having to cover some ground, we stopped on the motorway and had to put up with the Italian driving, where the thing to do is look at your phone, your girlfriend, your newspaper, pretty much anything apart from the road, all at 130 kilometers an hour. We soon arrived at Peschiera del Garda, on the shore of Lake Garda, where we had a caravan for 4 nights, which was only costing us €130. After 3 days and 1,130 miles, it's time to chill and have a beer. The next few days were a mix of chill out and sightseeing. We visited Verona, which was about 20 miles away. We crammed in with all the other tourists at Casa de Juliet to see Juliet's balcony and put our lock on the gates. Verona is one of the most beautiful cities in Italy and is known as Piccolo Roma, and when you see the small 30,000 seat Roman arena, you can see the connection. Coffee and people watching in the sun, then fresh fruit as we wandered the markets. We had a meal by the lake to finish off this brilliant day.
On days like these, when skies are blue.
After a great evening in Peschiera, we set off round the lake, stopping in Garda before moving on.
Hang on, don't forget riding through another pedestrianised area while trying to get parked as close as possible to where you want to be.
But nobody cares. They're all so chilled out listening to Matt Monroe in the sun. So on we chilled around the lake.
That I remember singing songs and drinking wine while your eyes
Till we reached Limon, which is stunningly set at the side of the cliff. So we stopped there and had some lunch. And I eventually got my vongole. I love vongole. These are some of the roads supposedly used in the filming of The Italian Job with Michael Caine in 1969. They haven't changed much since. They have amazing views across the lake as you twist and turn through the tunnels along the road set into the cliffside. Biking really doesn't get much better. Next, it was out of Italy, a small slice of Slovenia, and into Croatia, where we actually got stopped at a border. But we were soon on our way and stopped at our first Croatian service station. At the hotel, we were again told to park next to reception, under the grapevine. Ravinj is on the western coast of Istria, and it is beautiful. The Adriatic Sea is crystal clear and warm. The basilica overlooks the harbour, which is supposedly one of the last true Mediterranean fishing ports, with fishermen leaving early and then selling their catch in the harbour in the morning. So the restaurants have some fantastic seafood, which we sampled over our couple of days there. Then on the last night we were given a fantastic light show, reminding us that the rain is still following us. We left Croatia, and to avoid last night's storm, which was slowly moving through Slovenia, we went back into Italy. We used the small roads through the country till we climbed the Grossglockner Pass to just under 4,500 feet.
Like the legend of the phoenix, all ends with beginnings. What keeps the planet spinning?
And entered Austria. With 1,700 miles done, we stopped at Lienz in the Dara Valley. Our room was one of 10 in the Brauhaus Falkenstein, the Gosse Brewery. And with Goetze scoring the winning goal for Germany in the World Cup final, a quiet town had quite a lively night.
She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some.
We got up next morning intended to go over the Grossglockner Pass, but as we packed, the rain arrived. We set off anyway with a forecast of snow, ice and freezing fog. We got to Winklen, and with rivers flowing down the road deep enough to keep washing out the front wheel, we decided to give it a miss. As we travelled through the Austrian Tirol, the weather improved and the houses became more interesting, and eventually we had some sun.
Life ain't what you make it, all you got is what you're given. And it feels like
We arrived in town, named because Bruck means bridge, and it's over the River Inn, so Innsbruck. At the hotel, we were told the parking was €10 a night, but as we were on a bike, squeezing where we could, no charge. Innsbruck was surprisingly great, a real picture postcard town, not just a ski resort. The old town is one of the best we've seen. The golden roof here was made in 1500 from over 2,500 gilded copper tiles. The hotel here with the fresco is possibly the oldest inn in Austria. These two were sneaking out of the town, but it really is worth a visit. A short ride out the Alps took us to Fusen and the start, or end, of the romantic route, where we discovered snowballs, St Magnus and the Dragon, not St George, and Rachel found Woolworths and they were having a sale. I don't know where we're going to put all that. But the big attraction is just outside town, and it's Neuschwanstein Castle. Started by Ludwig II in 1869, it was never really finished, and is the inspiration for the Disney castle. It's a bit of a slog, especially in bike gear in the heat, but the best view is from the Marion Brook. It's one of the most photographed buildings in the world, and the whole place was packed. My advice is book online in advance and get there early. Opposite is Ludwig's father's Schloss, Hohenschwangau. As we set off on the romantic route, the temperatures started to climb. It was soon in the high 20s. We passed through fantastic scenery and even more amazing medieval villages. After about 170 miles, we reached the walled city of Rothenburg. Inside the city walls, it's a maze of small cobble streets and one-way systems. So while we tried to find our hotel, we had a tour. We didn't really have a choice. Due to the strictest pulling regulations in Germany, everywhere is perfect, almost too perfect. So perfect that it could have been a medieval theme park. one of the cobbled streets is Cafe Wolfhart's, where it's Christmas every day. This was a really great ride to an amazing town, and it's a shame we only had one night here. We reluctantly left Rothenburg to ride about 125 miles of the Bergstrasse, or castle route. The temperature climbed into the 30s, so we stopped regularly as we followed the ride, seeing 18 castles and passing through loads more medieval old towns. We soon reached Heidelberg and our last castle. And despite the short ride, we were worn out from the heat and just needed one thing. The ride to Hameln wasn't a great one, and with the temperature at 36 degrees by 11 AM, it was a hot one.
Show me.
Too hot.
Show me.
We decided to do roadside stops, pushing on to get there early, and it was worth it. Hameln was a real surprise. If you don't know the story, in 1294 the piper was hired by the town to lure the rats away to the Weser River with his magic pipe, where they drowned. After he'd done this, the town people refused to pay, so he returned while the villagers were in church and used his pipe to lure the children away. 130 children supposedly followed him to a cave in the nearby mountain, only leaving a couple of children, one lame who couldn't keep up and one deaf who couldn't hear the music. No one knows the basis of the story, but there are lots of theories. We followed the brass rats around town, looking at the amazing medieval buildings, which are worth a visit without the story.
There's a story of an actor who had died while he was drinking. It was no one I had heard of, and I'm turning to the horoscope and looking for the funniest.
But the piper is everywhere, and so are the rats. We tried to get a comment on this from the piper, but he wasn't talking. But we did find some other local ideas for rat removal. A pool in the hotel and a wine festival in the park outside improved what had already turned out to be a really good day. Cheers. So after a lazy start, we had another hot ride to Rotterdam and onto the ferry.
I hear a sound above my head, distant sound of thunder booming.
We came off at Hull and rode the B roads to nearby Whitby for breakfast, then home. We'd done 2,788 miles and used 304 litres of fuel. If we're doing this trip again, we would allow more time in some of the places and do less miles per day, or at least less main road miles, which is the problem when you've only got a couple of weeks. Do you get the places early and have plenty of time to see them, or do you ride interesting roads and maybe arrive later in the evening? But it's fun to keep trying, and we'll get the balance right eventually.
My